So thanks for having us here. It's better than being in New York this weather. I want to take a minute to have you introduce yourself, the proper way to pronounce your company.
Yeah, sure. So I'm Craig Ricks. I'm head of marketing at Paciolan. We're a white label ticketing technology provider. And so if you buy a ticket from Oklahoma or Alabama or Michigan or Wisconsin, UCLA or USC, any one of our 150 collegiate clients, you're buying it from our commerce platform, but you're buying it through their website. So our model is to fuel fandom and allow our teams to engage with their fans, build those lifelong relationships, and transact with tickets.
So Scott teed us up really well. We're talking about fan experience. You power over 150 D1 powerhouses who had to go completely digital in the last 2 years, unprecedented times. Do you want to talk a little bit about what you guys learned really quickly, the forced digital component of all of that, and how you help navigate?
Yeah, if you're in the ticketing business and there's a pandemic, business isn't good. So that was a challenge. So what we saw, and as you probably all recall, in 2020, Pac-12, Big Ten, no fans in the stands, right? That was a challenge. Power 5, ACC, SEC, Big 12, they had up to 25% capacity. So that was a challenge for us and our clients. And how are you going to make revenue and engage fans? And so there's a lot of things that we had to do. We wanted to keep fans warm. So when they came back, and this season they came back with a vengeance, which was awesome. So we want to keep them warm and engage and tell stories on campus and tell stories to student athletes. We did some really unique and creative things. So for example, that year in 2020, we did more marketing communications than ever. And there was an appetite for that. So we sent over 1 billion emails and communications on behalf of our clients in 2020. Talk about the stories on campus, second screen experiences. There was just an appetite, and the volume went up and engagement went up as well. And we also needed to get creative because there's no tickets to sell. So what are we going to do? Keep the lights on and help our clients. So we got creative. We did a lot of multi-channel marketing around the now infamous fan cutouts. I'm a Michigan State guy. My Michigan State fan cutout was in the end zone every time they were on TV and they scored. I was on there, so it's kind of I know people. It was kind of fun. So we did that. We also did virtual sellouts. Never underestimate the power of fandom. So we asked fans to buy virtual tickets for virtual sellouts, and they did. It's crazy. Virginia Tech, for example, sold $1 million of virtual sellouts in 1 year, which is great. The other thing we did is we really had to pivot, and we pivoted into philanthropy. So if you're selling tickets, and in college model, it's not for profit. So if you want to sit between the 35s or courtside or center ice, you need to be a donor for the opportunity to buy those premium tickets. It's the equivalent of the NFL per seat license. So there's no tickets to sell, so we can't even extract those donation revenues. So we pivoted towards telling the stories of the student athletes for student scholarships, for philanthropy, and it worked. So we did a lot of multi-channel marketing around that. So a couple of good examples. Wisconsin launched the Badger Legacy Fund. And so they enlisted J.J. Watt, all-pro defensive end, to talk about his experience of being a Badger and why it's so important to support student athletes and why it's so important to continue the legacy. And so they did a variety of video vignettes, and that was super impactful. They generated $12 million in football season right there. So it didn't fill the revenue bucket, but it was pretty good to help to do that. Another school did a good job. I'm a Midwest guy. Let's talk about Big Ten. University of Michigan, even though they're a rival, they do good work. They did a series of omni-channel marketing videos focused on student athletes. So they did a lot of student athlete stories. Franz Wagner, who's in the NBA right now, they did some video stories around how supporting him helped him to get into the NBA. There was mental health. Mental health's been a big challenge for everybody, especially for colleges. So they talked about mental health and support there. The best performing one was Aiden Hutchinson. So you Big Ten fans know that Aiden Hutchinson is a all-star. He's predicted to be, if not the top pick, one of the top picks in the upcoming NFL draft. And so they told his story, and it started with his parents, because his dad played football at Michigan, and his dad was a star, and he played in Rose Bowls. And so they interviewed his parents, and his dad said, I didn't want to push him. I feel like he was in the shadow of the name. So they interviewed him first, and they interviewed Aiden, and his dad said he let him discover his own passion. So in 6th grade, Aiden started playing football, and guess what? He was really good. And then he wrote himself a letter, and he pinned it on his wall in his bedroom and said, I'm going to play football at the University of Michigan. And that became his North Star And then here you go, he's going to be a top draft choice, which is pretty cool. So all those stories and just being innovative allowed us to create revenue out of thin air, engage fans, and fuel fandom.
So it sounds like you created a lot of content in coordination with your sports teams. How are you going to manage that moving forward with now being able to sell tickets to loyal fans, but also want to maintain some of the communications that you had going with them?
Yeah, so I mean, a lot of what we do is really nurturing custom fan journeys, right? So we do a lot of work around that. And we have a lot of, we have millions and millions and millions of fan records and millions of data points around that. So I always like to say we hold the keys to the kingdom of college athletics because we own first party data for fandom, which is super powerful. So we do a variety of things. One, we want to capture as much first party data as possible. And then we want to put those into nurturing campaigns so we can engage those fans, personalize the journey, and have them come back and buy more tickets. So I'll give you a couple examples of how we do that. So in mid-season, the most trafficked page on the website, on like usctrojans.com, is the schedule page. They want to see who they're playing, like they're playing Oregon State or what have you. And so what we can do, if they're known to us in the database, because we captured their first-party data, either bought a ticket or they signed in for ticket interest or they signed up for a newsletter. If they're known to us, we can pre-trigger some automated journeys based on browsing behavior and affinity and interest. So if they bought a ticket 2 years ago, they visited the schedule page twice in the last 2 weeks, we can send a nurturing campaign that says, hey, did you know we've got this amazing 5-star quarterback this year and we stole him from Oklahoma? And hey, did you know that we've got this incredible, new renovation? So it's these nurtured journeys that we do and we help to curate, which really helps to engage fans and open up revenue opportunities. The thing I always find is super interesting is what is the value of new fan? So we, across our community of 150 schools, and we sell 120 million tickets annually, which have a lot of volume. A new record, a new email address is worth about $200 year one. But then if you nurture them, upgrade them into a season ticket package or a premium seat or a donation, it grows exponentially. So it's really important that we take all of these data sets and custom marketing technology to create rich customer journeys to drive revenue and engage fans.
So how similar would you say the programs that you're running for each of the 150 programs that you run them for, how similar and how different are they based on the data they collect, the experiences that they power for their fans, and the outcomes of them?
Yeah, good question. So it's really interesting. What I love about my role is I'm at the nexus of marketing and ticketing and 150 colleges. I love college football. I love college basketball. So it's a really fun place for me to sit. So we do a lot of things for scalability. One, we have good partnerships with Oracle. We have a connected data stack. So we have the Paciolan data, ticketing, attendance, donor data, obviously third-party appended data, so we can tell a capacity to give and buy. We do marketing behavioral data, right? So did they engage with the campaign? Are they visiting a high-value landing page? And so we take all that and then we create use cases that we scale out to all of our clients. We do a lot of R&D as well. When I say R&D, I don't mean research and development. I mean rip off and duplicate. So we will steal what Texas does, and we'll scale it, we'll give it to Maryland, and we'll give it to the rest of the community. And we're super fortunate because college is pretty close, and though they're competitive, they're not competing for the same fans typically, right? It's different markets. So we do a lot of community sharing and scalability through integrated data and technology. And what we find is they're very open to share. We'll see something that works really, really well. We'll scale it out and share it. They'll make it their own and go from there. So we see a lot of similarities, but there's a lot of sharing as well.
And you have some really loyal fans.
Yeah.
So I would guess to say that they're giving you a lot of really rich data. How do you advise your sports teams on how to sift through that data, extract meaningful touch points and interactions, and then leverage that data in the communications they're sending out?
Yeah, good question. There is millions and millions of data points and variables. So it's all around being intentional and prescribing solutions that are going to work for those persona target audiences. And one thing that we really focus on is we want to, as everyone in this room does, you want to maintain your most valued customers, which for us are season ticket holders. So we want to really focus a lot on the season ticket holder journey, make sure they come back, right? Especially after a pandemic. We need to get back in the stadium, off of their couch, cheer for their team. So the best way to do that is to give a great game day experience. I'm sure you that are going to the Super Bowl are going to have a great game day experience as well. And when we think about the game day experience, we don't think about it when you enter the gate. We think about, we call it the driveway to driveway experience. So your game day experience starts when you leave your house and it ends when you arrive back home. So what can we do to make that driveway to driveway experience amazing? Well, we do a lot of nurtured campaigns based on data, purchase history, and affinity to make that experience fantastic. So I'll give you a couple examples. We'll do a lot of before, during, and after journeys for our fans. So this last season, LSU came out and played UCLA at the Rose Bowl, right? It's a big non-conference game, and UCLA won, which is amazing. So we did it, know before you go. Did you know that Pasadena can get pretty congested? Did you know there's still parking available at the Rose Bowl and the golf course, and it's super fun? Did you know that there's mask mandates now? Did you know there's a clear bag policy? So it's all those things that help us to alleviate potential congestion or questions to give you a great experience on ingress into the stadium. We'll also do some surprise and delights that are pre-triggered based on communication. So for example, as soon as someone scans in, because we've got integration with Access Scanning with our platform, we can send them an email or a notification that said, hey, do you know we've got a merchandise offer in the north end zone? So remember the pack. Or do you know there's some concessions offers? It's 4 hot dogs, 4 popcorns, 4 Cokes for $40. Bring your kids over. And by the way, in 2 weeks, there's a great game. Come back and buy tickets. At the same time, we can also trigger, we talked about donations and how important that is. We can also trigger an alert or a text message to a fundraising officer or an outbound salesperson and say, hey, Julia just came into AG. She is a big time donor. She hasn't renewed yet. What's up, Julia? So let's send a person over and bring a hat and do a seat visit and say, hey, we're super excited about this year in the season. You're the home field advantage. Come back in and renew your season tickets. So we do that. And then we do a lot of postseason experiential surveys, right? So we'll say, anyone that scanned in and went to the game, we want to know what their experience was so we can address additional campaigns. So for example, if someone had a bad experience, we'll ask, how's facilities, how's parking? You know, parking's always huge. It's going to be huge in the Super Bowl too. How was the facilities? If they had a bad experience, we can pre-trigger a service notification with either a nurtured campaign or an outbound call that said, hey, I understand your seat was broken, or there was a belligerent LSU fan next to you. And so we can address those things in advance before it becomes a problem. Conversely, we can also turn data into opportunities. So if someone bought tickets on StubHub on the secondary, we get access to that data. And so if they paid a lot of money and they said, I had a great experience, I gave you a 9, we can pre-trigger an opportunity to our outbound sales team, put them into a nurturing campaign to drive revenue. So those are how we really engage our fans through nurtured campaigns and integrated marketing to drive revenue and turn data into opportunity.
Which programs do you think are doing it really well and why? And which ones do you think have opportunities to sort of, and you don't have to call them out, but what are some massive opportunities you can identify with some of the programs that you're running that they're just not taking advantage of for either lack of resources, lack of data, whatever the case may be?
Yeah, so resources are an ongoing opportunity, I think, in every institution. I'll say one school that did a really good job this year embracing new technology, a lot of them did, but was Alabama, pretty good in football. So this year during the pandemic, we rolled out, because of obvious reasons, contactless ticketing. So it's near field communication. You don't need to hand your ticket. You just tap and go with your mobile ticket, your mobile wallet, pedestal, and walk right in. So there was new technology coupled with people hadn't been in the stadium in 2 years. Event day staff didn't come back, just like restaurants in the service industry. There was no event day staff. And, season ticket holders are often venerable and have been season ticket holders for 40 years, right? So the technology maybe isn't, their strong suit. So there's all these challenges. And this is kind of across the country. The first week back, when everybody came back and it was sold out, there were some lines at the gate. There was some challenge, right? So we quickly acted. We spun up what we call the mobile ticket dashboard, which allows our teams to identify which fans had downloaded their mobile tickets into their mobile wallet. If they hadn't, do an automated campaign to say download so you avoid lines at the gate. And Alabama embraced that. They also did a ticket ally program. So to replace event day staff, anyone that worked in athletics donned these obnoxious shirts and came out and helped with customer service. Week 1, super long lines at the gate. I'm sorry to tell you. Week 2, 10 minutes for a kickoff, 0 lines. So just showcases good marketing, integrated data and technology can work along with process to give a better customer experience.
Well, I have to say, you make multi-channel marketing, omni-channel marketing sound really easy. Thank you for your time today, for being up here with me. The next time you guys are purchasing college tickets, look at the bottom and you will see Paciolan, and Craig powered that. So thanks again.
Thank you.